Shut this door. Guys, the GBFC sign is broken. There's only one prong on the two-pronged plug, which is ever so slightly frustrating. But yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Ever so slightly sunburned today, which is a little bit of a nightmare. It's slightly painful and I prod my face and stick my middle finger up at nobody. And yeah, I get white patches all over my face. But anyway, you're not here for an update on how my sunburn situation's going on and my inability to remember to put face sun cream on when I'm riding on my bloody scooter in Bali. We are here today for 3 things that we've learned, which is half of the regular 6 things we learned series, but 3 things that we have learned from Thomas Tuchel's first 3 weeks in charge of Chelsea Football Club. And by the way, I know that my good friend Yanislav Ivanovic, aka Football Therapy, has pretty much done the same video as me because I watched it yesterday and I'd already planned this video out. I'm not trying to say like I didn't copy Yan or I did copy Yan, but before you get commenting, I know Yan's made the same video, but lo and behold, shock horror, we have exactly the same job, which is sitting here talking to you guys about Chelsea Football Club. I do have something that I want to ask from you in the comments down below. Before we get into anything, I'm going to be doing a Chelsea Q&A, as in, I've never done a Q&A here on GBFC before, and I want you to leave a comment down below with your question regarding my thoughts on where we move forward with Thomas Tuchel. I know you guys like the whole "we move" phrase, so that is what I'm asking for in the comments down below. How do we move forward with Tuchel? Ask your questions and I will get them answered in tomorrow's video. I feel like that was one of the most long-winded intros that I've ever done in my life. So if you're still here, hit the like button. We might as well just get all of that dirty business over and done with early. But point number 1, the first of the 3 things that we have learnt, is that Thomas Tuchel is not afraid to not start some of the big money signings and some of the big name players. We knew when he came in that the likes of Thiago Silva was probably going to be, not just because of the connection that they have between player and manager, but we knew because Thiago Silva is probably the best centre-back in the club at the moment, despite his injury right now, we knew that Thiago Silva was going to be an immediate favourite for our new manager. Rightly so, in my opinion. His performances this season have vindicated all of that. Reece James has come out and said in the past 24-48 hours that the biggest influence so far this season on him was Thiago Silva. How Thiago Silva takes him under his wing in training, how he can obviously learn from one of the best defenders in the world on a daily basis on training and also on the pitch come a game. But other than Thiago Silva, Ben Chilwell, you know, Marcos Alonso comes in. We'll probably talk about the tactics and the shape of the team a little later, obviously. But Marcos Alonso, he had absolutely no future at Chelsea under Frank Lampard. You know, when he was dropped after that incident at West Brom earlier in the season where Chelsea are 3-0 down, Alonso storms down the tunnel at the Hawthorns, jumps on the flipping bus as if it's time to go home and have a bath. No, sir, it wasn't that kind of time. But Marcos Alonso's back in the team, and £50 million man, Ben Chilwell, is sat there, you know, wondering what he's done wrong on the bench. And I think it's actually very good with the results that we've had. I'm not saying individually that it's good that Chilwell's been dropped. I don't think it's good. I just think Alonso's doing okay, so I can just stick my thumbs up and be happy with it as a fan. But the fact that he's not being forced to start with Ziyech despite his form. You know, Pulisic's out of form. He's not starting him. Chilwell's been dropped as well for Alonso. It's actually a really good sign that Thomas Tuchel isn't going to succumb to the power that is this little belief in your head psychologically that if Chelsea Football Club have spent X amount of money on an individual, a big name signing and a big name player, it doesn't mean that he has to be in the starting 11. You know, there's a couple of other examples we could go into, but it's not really important. I think the key thing is, in the early parts of this Tuchel era, is that he's come to Chelsea not just to fix what was a faltering and dwindling into the abyss season, but he's come with a plan. And I think the fact that he's able to put in the players that he feels best fits his system is a very, very good sign moving forward that we've got a manager who tactically knows exactly what he is doing. The second thing that we have learned, and this one really is the most obvious one, if I didn't mention this in the video, it would have been a waste of time, the change of formation and shape. Chelsea this season have been a 4-3-3, get the ball out to the wings or the fullbacks and just hit and hope and pray that the cross finds the striker or somebody lurking on the edge of the area. This change of shape that we've seen from Chelsea has seen Callum Hudson-Odoi be converted into a right wing back, as I've already mentioned, Marcos Alonso back in the side in his favoured left wing back role, and two central midfielders, a partnership of both Kovacic and Jorginho, which is something that under Lampard we hardly saw at all. Now, when a manager, particularly the likes of Frank Lampard, is sacked, someone who was very close to my heart, who was very close to the majority of Chelsea fans' hearts in terms of wanting him to stay, wanting him to succeed, when Tuchel came in, whatever he did was going to be scrutinised incredibly heavily. And I think what we've seen from him in the early stages of his Chelsea career as manager is that with this change of shape, he knows how to get the best out of this side when confidence isn't very high, which is something that a lot of Chelsea managers have struggled with over the years. Things haven't been going well before because the manager's just been sacked. It's often very difficult for the manager to really implement a brand new strategy because the Chelsea players just seem to lose interest when there's nothing to play for in the season. You know, we could argue that when we won the Champions League, that was a very different story, but quite often when a manager comes in, there is a turn of form, but it doesn't always necessarily coincide with a total shift in the shape and formation of the team. And with this three at the back system, I wanted to give my view on what I think about it moving forward for Chelsea, because it is important that we don't get too carried away. You know, we're unbeaten so far under Tuchel. I think we've won 5 of the first 6, which is very good indeed. And we're back in the top 4. And it would be very typical of me and all of Chelsea fans to be like, you know what? This is the one. This is the manager. He's got it sussed, you know. He's going to be here for a bloody long time. Crazy thought, you know. It really is a crazy thought. It's not even worth the airtime in your brain at this point. But that being said, as we move into point number 3, which is definitely tactically based, the way that we're playing in game at the moment, I think is the key resolution that we've had since Tuchel has taken over, that when in the latter stages under Lampard, I know this video kind of does play onto the hands of comparing what we saw in the latter stages of the Lampard era to the opening few games of the Tuchel era in the first 3 weeks, the biggest shift from me is that when we are playing on the field, it looks as though the players have an idea as to what they should be aiming to do. One of the key things that was very frustrating to watch as a Chelsea fan, and if you're a football fan in general, I'm pretty sure this is all the same across the board. When we were watching Chelsea earlier this season, it looked to me when we're in possession of the ball like we had absolutely no idea how we were going to instigate moves in order to progress up the field to maintain possession and create chances. Under Tuchel so far, there's been a couple of games where we haven't really created very much, but what we have created has been much more incisive, it's been much more fluid, and in terms of balancing everything out, the whole structure of this team, which kind of ties point 2 and 3 together, the shape that we now have enables us to defend in a much more sustainable, rigid manner. So that when we do attack, we don't necessarily have to bombard 30, 40 shots on goal every single game and score 2 or 3 goals. We can be far more clinical with the opportunities that we create because everybody who's out there on the field at the moment is aware of the plan when we have the ball and when we do not have the ball. I hope I've just concluded that in the best way possible. In my head, it made so much sense that I'm pretty proud of what I just said, because when I'm watching it, you know, I spend a lot of time watching Chelsea. If you didn't know, I always watch the game back a second time, pretty much in full if I can find it, which I usually can, I've got good source, but if I can't watch the full game back, I'll watch the extended highlights over and over and over, in case there's something that I might have missed in the 90 minutes when I'm playing, if I was making a cup of tea, or I don't know why I'm putting my phone, my imaginary phone to my ear, I'm on the phone or something, I don't know what it is. 4 in the morning, very rarely people call me. But it is what it is, you know? Moving into the finishing off this video now, I don't know how I've got to this point, but basically, what I want to say is, so far under Thomas Tuchel, we should all be very happy with what's happened. We've gone from being mid-table to 4th in the Premier League. It's certainly not job done. It's certainly not a one-way ticket to the top of the Premier League. We're going to win everything under Thomas Tuchel. That would be a crazy thing to think about. You know, we've all been there where we've hyped up someone, me included, Lampard was one of them, and we thought we're going to win the Champions League or the Premier League this season, whatever it may be. But we're back into a level of reality now where we know the league is not going to happen this season, but steadying the ship, tick. Tuchel's done it. Changed the shape of this team to make us look a lot more fluid in and out of possession, tick. Tuchel has done it. Drop players that don't fit the system and the masterminded plan that he's coming in with, tick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. As I mentioned at the start, if you have any questions about how we move forward under Thomas Tuchel that you would like to know my answers to and opinions on, let me know with those questions in the comments down below. Hit the like button if you did enjoy this one today. Subscribe to GBFC if you are new, and I will catch you with the first GBFC Chelsea Q&A out tomorrow. See you guys there. Come on, you Blues.